For binomial expansion, you want to write out the coefficients of Pascal's triangle, and you want to go to the row where the second coefficient in, because the first coefficient should always be 1. Your second coefficient is the same as your exponent on your binomial that you're trying to expand. Binomial means 2 terms. So that's the first thing I want to do. So I want to find the fourth term in 2x minus y all raised to the 6th power. So I want to write out my coefficients off my Pascal's triangle with 1 then 6. I want it to be the same exponent as my exponent on my binomial. So I'm going to write those out. So looking at Pascal's triangle, which you have in your note cards, 1, I'm going to leave space, 6, 15, 20, 15, 6, and then 1. And then I'm going to write out my a's and my b's. My first term is always going to be my a term, so 2x is my a term. My b term is always going to be my second term, along with the sign that's in between them. So b is going to equal negative y. So I'm going to write out my a's and my b. And you're always adding in between the coefficients. So a and b, a and b. And then I want to do my exponents. The exponents on the a always start at the highest power and go down to 0. So my highest power would be 6, the same as my exponent on my binomial. And then I'm going down. And b always starts at 0 and then goes up. So 6 and 0, 5 and 1, 4 and 2, 3 and 3. Whoops. 2 and 4, 1 and 5, 0 and 6. And I want to find my fourth term. So these a's and b's help because I'm not filling in everything. So I just want my fourth term. So here's my first, second, third. I want my fourth term, only my fourth term. So that's what I'm going to simplify. So 20, my a value now I'm going to plug in. So a is 2x, so 2x to the third. And negative y is my b, so negative y to the third. So I want to simplify that. Whoops. The third should be on the outside of the parentheses. So I have 22 to the third and x to the third. So 2 to the third is 8. X to the third is x to the third. Negative y to the third. Negative y times negative y times negative y would be negative y to the third. And then I just want to multiply all my coefficients and negatives. So 20 times 8 times negative 1 would be negative 160. And then I'm going to add my variables x to the third, y to the third. Okay, for the next one, gotta move that out of the way. I want to do the whole entire expansion, so I'm going to have to use Pascal's triangle to get my coefficients. I'm using the 1, 5 row, so 1 AB plus 5 AB and fill in my exponents. And now I'm going to fill in my a's and my b terms. So my a is the 3a, and my b is the negative 4. So I'm going to fill that in. going to try to squeeze it in here. So now I want to simplify each part, each term here. So 1 times 3 to the 5th, so 243, a to the 5th, and anything raised to the 0 power is 1, so I'm not even going to bother writing it. So that term's gone. If you want to cross them out as you go to make sure you're not losing track of terms, that'd be a good idea. So plus 5 times 3 to the 4th is 81. A to the 4th is a to the 4th. And then negative 4 to the 1st is still going to be times negative 4. I'm going to write it in parentheses because it's a negative. Plus 10. 3 to the 3rd is 27. A to the 3rd is a to the 3rd. And then negative 4 squared. Make sure you're putting parentheses if you ever type in a negative. Negative 4 squared would be positive 16. So I did these two terms. 10. 3 squared would be 9. A squared is a squared. And then negative 4 to the 3rd would be a negative 64 plus, so I did that term. 3 to the 1st and a to the 1st is just going to be 3a. Negative 4 to the 4th is going to be a positive 256 plus 1 anything raised to the 0 power is 1, so I'm not going to write it. Negative 4 to the 5th would be a negative 1,000. That didn't work out very well. 1,000. I'm going to run out of room. Negative 1,024. So now again, I want to simplify all those terms by multiplying. So 1 times 243 is just going to be 243 a to the 5th. So that one's gone. Now I want to multiply 5 times 81 times negative 4. And I get a negative, so I'm going to get rid of this plus sign. So a negative 1,620 a to the 4th. And then 10 times 27 times 16 is going to be positive. $4,320 a to the 3rd. 10 times 9 times negative 64 is going to give me a negative. $5,760 a squared. 5 times 3 times 256 is a positive 384 or 3,840 a. So I did that one. And the last one would just be 1 times negative 1,024 would be minus 1,024. And I don't have any like terms because none of my variables have the same exponent, so I'm done.